Which is why, to return to these problems of Catherine Malabou and so on, this is one problem I have with her. She focuses too much on this horrible situation where, because of totally contingent reality, like your brain doesn't work, your personality changes. So you can see here how what you think is your autonomous personality is dependent on some stupid biological, stupid, not in the sense of simple, but in the sense of hermeneutically totally meaningless contingent natural processes. But something would have been for me much more terrifying. What if nothing changes and you don't even know it? What do I mean by this? For example, maybe I even used this story here years ago. They are making now some experiments, like they did it already with rats years ago, where they succeeded in connecting the neurons which direct your bodily movements, the direction you walk, directly with the computer. And I saw this on TV, maybe you remember it, it was shown all around some 2-3 years ago. This terrifying idea that you see a rat freely running around. Then you connect it, because these neurons are relatively simple. So they succeeded in connecting it so that then you can literally play with a living rat as if a remote-controlled toy. It's something horrible that the rat runs around, but but you can control it. Now, of course, what immediately interested me is, let's do it with humans, no? It can be done, because, again, these neurons are not so complicated. It can be done. And now we come to the crucial problem, which is the truly terrifying for me. Not that you would be ruined, become another person. These are the good news. The truly horrible things would have... The crucial question is, let's say I would be that kind of a rat, no? Unknown to me. Those neurons which control the direction of my movement are remote controlled. Okay, let's say I walk around freely, then not even knowing when I am controlled, and somebody directs me. The crucial question for me is the following one. How would I experience this? Would I experience it at all? Or would I still think that I am freely running around, not even being aware? And through some of my friends at Duke University or where, I tried to contact the people who were doing these experiments, and they told me that their hypothesis is a very terrifying one, that no, people would not be aware. No? This is for me much more horrible than that Alzheimer. There you know you are in deep shit somehow. No? But isn't it even more horrible when there is a radical change, but you don't even know it? No? Okay, so the problem is how to avoid here this paranoid vision of total control and so on. Here appearance enters. You know this standard topic of books about brains, where say this user's illusion and so on. We just think there is, but when you look behind, there is nothing behind, just stupid meat, brain, and so on. But I think it's totally wrong to draw from this a conclusion that we are really nothing, that our appearance of freedom is just an illusion. It's not an illusion, it's an appearance. And the whole point is that appearance can have the efficiency of its own. That's my ontological wager. It's not that appearance is not something which just appears, but the process is, how to put it, totally determined at the level of what really goes on. No, appearance as such can have efficiency in the real. Which is why, ironically, those reductionist neurobiologists or cognitive scientists, brain scientists, who try to reduce consciousness, the more they succeed, the more they get caught into a mystery. Like they demonstrate how, this free thinking of yours, it's nothing, it's only these neural processes, blah, blah. But the problem is, the more you explain consciousness, the more the enigma emerges, why then do we need consciousness? If you can explain consciousness as a blind process, Why then doesn't it simply go on as a blind process? How should I put it? Why? No, this is a big debate in cognitive scientists. And okay, I am not totally bluffing the way I appear now. I read quite a couple of books on it. And I think that those who are skeptical have a point here. That all the attempts, Dennett and so on, try to make them of somehow accounting for evolutionary gains that you get by consciousness. No, it's not clear. For example, as to complexity, it's not clear. Often in your unconscious mind, you can reason much more with much greater complexity and so on. That is to say, this vulgar idea that by getting conscious, that being conscious is a condition of performing more complex intellectual tasks and so on. Absolutely not true. If anything, it's the other way around. I mean, the true mystery is that, and Hegel knew it. Consciousness, I think, at its most elementary is not complexity, it's simplifying. You know which is my favorite, okay, as an old Stalinist, I say this brain scientist, the big influence on Oliver Sacks, the Russian guy, Alexander Luria, who wrote that wonderful book on the mind of a mnemonist, or how. The guy who had in Russia in the 40s an almost perfect memory, and how this ruined his life. The power of consciousness is precisely to reduce. So this poor guy had to employ complicated techniques, not to remember as we do, but to forget. I mean, the fact of not being able to forget almost totally incapacitated the working of his mind and so on. Okay, I got confused. I didn't answer a question, I know, but that's life and so on. Sorry. We can maybe have one more so that we play the triad, the three, no? Like the Hegelian. No, please. Okay, somebody has to sacrifice himself or herself, yeah?
It's sort of a comment and then a question. In both of your responses to previous questions, it seems as though you've been given a Nietzschean gloss in some respects.
But
with response to the first question, you were talking about the idea of I think the word maybe you were looking for was transvaluing technology.
Yeah, but I wouldn't use... Sorry, please, end the question.
Here you're talking about the importance, the value of appearances. And again, I was wondering about the notion of transvaluation. So,
yeah, but why use this term, transvaluation? You know, my feelings are, to put it in this very stupid terms, are very mixed about Nietzsche. Although a colleague of mine, one of my inner party circle, Alenka Zupamcic, published that wonderful book, The Shortest Shadow or What. She is a pro-Nietzschean in my inner circle. But she did convert me, but not quite, how should I put it, no? But where I like her work is, if I rather connect Nietzsche to this final point about appearance and so on, you know where is the problem? She points how Nietzsche, I think, didn't go to the end here. She quotes, I think, from Genealogie der Moral, of how in the space of a couple of pages, Nietzsche proposes two opposite ethics and ontologies. At some point he has this heroic notion of how much truth we can endure. As if, this heroic notion of truth is too strong for us human beings. We prefer appearances, and this would be what Badiou called the passion of the real. Truth is this raw flesh which hurts. Are we strong enough to confront the truth? But then, a couple of pages later, he goes around and says the true greatness of man is to give priority of appearances to reality. Then he practically turns it, and the catch is that I don't think that Nietzsche was able to formulate, not in political sense, the third way here, how to read the two together. And I think, I will not do it now, not to bore you too much, that from Lacanian standpoint, you can do it. Namely, the problem is do we play, these are two sides of postmodernity. On the one hand, postmodernity is this celebration of appearances. There is no truth, one appearance, another appearance, there is an appearance beneath appearance. But then there is also this postmodernity of the negative thing. It can be Holocaust or whatever, you know. There is some horrible core of the truth. And we need symbolic fictions as a protection. And what I was opposing is precisely this misreading of Lacan along these lines, as if for Lacan, this is why I more and more hate Lacan's ethics seminar. I think it's caught into this model. Truth is something like Antigone does. You penetrate this traumatic domain, you see some horrible, prohibited thing, and oh my God, you have to run back, you know, and so on. That's not the Lacanian real, I think. It's much more, I would say the same thing that I said about appearances, that the greatness of Lacan is that on the one hand, he does not believe in substantial truth behind appearances. It's not that we have just symbolic fiction, there is some hard real, too strong to confront. But on the other hand, if Lacan, there is something Lacan is not, it's that he is not this kind of a postmodernist, or oh, there is only the game of appearances, and so on. I would say that this is what Alenka in her book calls this moment of shortest shadow. The cut, there is a truth, but it's a purely formal gap. The truth is the gap between appearances. The truth is the inconsistency of appearances themselves, as it were. It's a very nice ontological topic, I think. Sorry, again, I didn't answer, but what the hell? What are you doing there? You were drawing something there. Is this a portrait? No, no, I was just afraid. Because at some point I was doing this at a conference, and then somebody at the conference of psychoanalysts in Ann Arbor, and somebody then grabbed my paper and said he will use it like how a complete psychotic works of someone. So, okay, thanks very much. If you want, I will go on precisely into this maybe philosophically more interesting topic about appearance and so on when my next,